Welcome, my friend, to Next Level Change Success. I'm Therese, a change strategist and practitioner with over 20 years of experience designing and delivering impactful change programs across various industries. In this podcast, I share real-world practical strategies to help you create and deliver positive change experiences, whether you're a leader, practitioner, or someone looking to bring new ways of working to life. In today's fast-paced world, change is constant. Here we focus on how you can put people at the centre of your change strategy, because people with a sense of purpose are the most important link in driving performance. So if you're ready to create meaningful change and achieve all the success that comes with it, keep listening. Together, let's change the conversation and take it to the next level. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Next Level Change Success. My name is Therese, and I am the founder of myvirtualchangemanager.com. I'd like to acknowledge that I'm recording on Tharrabul country and pay my respects to the traditional owners and custodians on the land on which I am recording, and to elders both past, present and emerging. So today I want to talk about cause and effect, which oftentimes you definitely understand when you're working in change, and especially over the years as you implement change and you start to understand the real touch points that matter. And there are a couple of things that I wanted to share in relation to that, so that you can really hone in on some of these areas and get the maximum from the opportunity that they present, because they will have a huge effect on how well or how successful your change is, dependent on your focus in these areas. And with the top three areas, I feel, when it comes to change, success, and I talk about success is always in degrees, so it's never really a black and white process as to whether a change has been successful or not. A lot of the times there might be a lot of feedback coming through that the change was really successful, but the reality is dependent upon your mind map and your expertise in the area. Sometimes it might be seen as a wonderful change, but the reality is, from your perspective, it's not really, because it was challenging, because you didn't get the traction you wanted. Ideally, you didn't get the engagement you wanted. So it's important to caution on the concept of success when it comes to change, because it is just all a learning process. So the first area I want to focus in on, planning. Now, the cause is planning. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that is a very common quote when it comes to projects. It's also very common when it comes to change. And I will express the sentiment that you might feel if you're a change practitioner or if you're a leader. Everyone's under time pressure, and so you don't get the luxury of time to plan. However, if you do not have a plan, as rough as it may be, then you absolutely will come unstuck if you're not flexible enough to be able to build the plan as you go, because sometimes the reality of the change is that you're engaged so late, you're pretty much cobbling it together based on your prior experience or your prior knowledge of an organisation or the communication channels, or really just leveraging your relationships in an organisation. Yet, if you don't have a plan at all, you are rudderless and you're going to really come unstuck. You're going to miss people in that. You're going to miss timings. You're going to underestimate the time and effort it takes to produce communication. So even if it's a plan for your own back pocket, then it's important to have something that is documented. So not in your brain, not in your mind, definitely documented, that you can share, validate, get some feedback on. When it comes to planning, if not planned, you will not achieve clarity around the change. The more you're able to workshop in your planning stage, the better the clarity around the change, the better the vision for what you're implementing will be, the better engagement you will get, because you will have factored in talking to the right stakeholders up front. And you can ask more questions when you're pushing through the planning. That's one area, of course. So no plan, your effect, no clarity, no efficiency, just chaos. Second area of cause is impact assessment. No impact assessment from a change perspective, so you don't know who is impacted, how they're impacted. You haven't even got it documented. Once again, you might have it in your head, but you haven't actually put it on paper. You haven't been able to test that thinking with anyone. No impact assessment, no change plan. You're not even sure if you're talking to the right people about the right things. When you start creating communication, which can sometimes happen where people ask for the communication, as you're going and then producing that communication, you're not sure who the audience is, you're not sure what you're telling them. Like, you definitely need that impact assessment. So it helps with clarity as well, but it also helps with taking the right actions at the right time with the right audience, because the impact assessment also gives you an idea around the sizing of the impact of the change. And so you will then know at what level you should be communicating, to what depth, who you need to target, who might sit on the periphery and be maybe very noisy on the sidelines, but they're not the most impacted groups. And yet you might have that at a gut feel, but you can't show that to others because you haven't done the impact assessment. So an impact assessment is the engine of the change plan, without doubt. And if you don't have that as the cause, if you're not focused on that, and the more you compromise on that, the more the effect insofar as the robustness of your change plan, then ultimately your change success, it all gets impacted as a result of not having a robust impact assessment. So it's the second area. First area, planning, and second area, impact assessment. Third area, learning and creating the space to learn. So I don't mean training, I mean learning about the responses you're getting, the feedback, etc., how you're creating that learning environment within your change experience and within your project team, your change team. Learning is where you get really good bang for buck when it comes to change maturity, developing change intelligence, developing that higher order understanding of the change ecosystem in your organization. And so if you're not creating that space and at cause and at intention around learning, then you are transacting and you're actioning without any efficiency. And transacting only on change means that no one can learn from you. There might have been change that's done before, but no one has a record of it from you. No one knows where to find that record. So whether you're doing it because the project requires it and your project framework requires it, or whether you're doing it because it is good to do as a practice, it's an uplift, it's a maturity, that at the end of every change you would have a retro with team members, or you would document for yourself, this is a change that was implemented and this was the outcome as a result of the change. So learning. The cause, the effect is uplift, better quality, improved change implemented in future, even better change implemented as you go if you're on a multi-phase project or if you're in a multi-year journey, creating the space for learning. It will improve you as a change practitioner, your stakeholders' understanding of what you do, your project stakeholders and how they work with you, but also the outcomes that you can achieve if you create the space for learning. So this is a short, sharp, quick episode, cause and effect. Everything you do creates a subsequent reaction. And so if you are planning, you don't have to plan to the nth degree. Be agile and flexible in your approach, but hone in on areas where you need clarity. So if you've got a good business case, that might help set a really good foundation to be able to then achieve clarity. When it comes to the impact assessment, being able to create your impact assessment and document it helps you just double check in relation to stakeholder engagement that you've got everyone you need who can be engaged on the journey, and then the subsequent actions that need to be taken as a result of the change and the change impact. that can be integrated into your change plan. So it really does have broad ripple effects. That's why I will say impact assessments are the engine of change. And then learning and creating the space for learning, which is change checkpoints, it's retros, it's workshops to step back and consider engagement with stakeholders and what can work better and what needs to be improved upon when it comes to communication. It's creating feedback loops. It's all of those things is how you learn as part of the change process, which once again improves outcomes, it improves the quality of the change and the general teaming that everyone feels when it comes to the change that you're looking to implement. 3 areas. Consider at the moment with the change you're working on or how you're approaching a change, whether it be with your team, with someone else's team. Are you planned? Do you have a documented plan that you've communicated, shared with others so they know what to expect? Have you undertaken an impact assessment, even at a high level? And at myvirtualchangemanager.com, we absolutely have a free impact assessment tool that you could do. And off the back of that, I have some suggestions as to how you might approach the change based on the size of the impact. And then when it comes to the third aspect around learning, have you got those checkpoints? Have you got those helicopter sessions? Have you got those retros? Do you have a feedback loop in place as you're going through the change so that you can welcome feedback? And that's an important aspect to consider. Welcome feedback, see how you can decipher what you can improve on, other things that you may not need to own in that feedback space, and definitely looking at how you can improve your change approach or the change method you're using or the way in which you're operating for the next change. So 3 things. I hope this has helped you today and this week, and I hope you're staying safe and well in this somewhat chaotic world in now April in 2026. And come to myvirtualchangemanager.com if you are looking to upskill in change. Sign up for our newsletter because we have courses coming up that you might want to participate in. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening, and just remember that change matters because you, your people, your purpose, it all matters. Have a great day.